Good evening and welcome back to the current affairs lectures that we have been doing. So for this week, it has been a very happening week and we have taken very important topics both from prelims, mains and as well from the general understanding of what's going on right now. Okay. So the first topic, as by now you must have read it. It is Gyanvapi Mosque and the Places of Worship Act 1991. So this was in a lot of news. It created a lot of controversy as well. But we have to, when we are studying for UPSC, we have to study from a dispassionate point of view, right? So because why we are studying, first of all, we are studying all these things so that we can at some point in time, when we get selected, we might be able to understand the socio-political, socio-economic, cultural milieu of the country, and we might be able to confront the problems that our society faces right now. Okay, it is very important that when you study such topics which of course arise passion, you need to be dispassionate about such topics and you need to always stand firm by the morality that the constitution provides. That is why we always talk of constitutional morality, and constitutional morality is the ground that we need to stand upon. Having said that, Gyanvapi Mosque and the Places of Worship Act 1991. So what happened was, why it was in news? Because a structure has been found in the Gyanvapi well. Actually, Gyan means knowledge and Vapi means well. Okay, this whole masjid complex, if we look at this, so this is the masjid complex, right? These are the walls, okay, and in the front it's a masjid, and in the front of that masjid there is a well, okay, and that well is called Gyanvapi, right? Why it is called Gyanvapi? Gyanvapi means the well of knowledge. Fine. So a structure that has been found by the archaeological a team that was appointed by the honorable court, and that team has found that team was video recording, basically performing a video survey of the site, this whole masjid site, and they found a structure which some parties are saying it is a Shivalinga, and the other parties are claiming that it is a fountain. Okay, what it is, that will be ascertained by the court and the experts. What we need to look into it, what is the history of this mosque, and what is the Places of Worship Act 1991, and how are these things interacting today in society, right? So this is the mosque. You can see in the posterior of the mosque, you can clearly see the ruins of a temple, right? And in that, in the posterior of the mosque and in the posterior of that wall, you can clearly see a mosque. Now we must understand what is the history of the mosque, right? And why it was in news? Because court order on Kashi Vishwanath temple, Gyanvapi Mosque site in Varanasi, history and context. That is what we are going to understand, right? So what is the controversy, first of all, and how this controversy started? So what happened was in 1991, okay? So in 1991, we all know the demolition of Babri Masjid took place, and at that time the communal environment in the country was very much charged, and there was a revivalist movement going on basically in the larger Hindu section of the society about reclaiming the ancient heritage of the temples and all, right? And it was a political movement as well. At that point in time, a title dispute was filed in a local Varanasi court. It is not Ayodhya, right? It is Varanasi. A title dispute means a dispute related to the entitlement or the ownership of the land, okay? So a title dispute was filed in a local Varanasi court by Kashi Vishwanath Mandir Trust. It is a trust which operates a Kashi Vishwanath temple. There's a temple just besides this mosque, okay? The mosque that we were looking at, just beside this mosque, there's a temple that was made by the Holkars of Indore, okay? So there's a trust that governs the operations of the running of that temple. So that trust filed a title like title dispute case in a Varanasi local court, basically district court. Okay. But what happened was in 1991 itself, the Places of Worship Act, okay, in 1991 itself, after the demolition of, in 1991, oh sorry, in 1991, after the demolition of Babri Masjid, under the government of VP Singh, PV Narasimha Rao, Places of Worship Act was brought. Okay? Places of Worship Act was brought in 1991. The major aim of this act was to prevent conversion of any religious sites belonging to any religion or the denomination to the status that existed for that religious or that temple or the site or the mosque or the church at the time of the independence. Okay? That means any site of worship, be it temple, mosque, gurudwara, or any site of worship, of course, the nature of that site will not be changed post the enactment of this act. Okay? It will be maintained, the status of that worship site will be maintained as it was during the time of, at the time of independence, right? So if it was a mosque, it will remain a mosque. If it was a temple, it will remain a temple. Okay? So but what happened was, in 1998, so this case dragged on, and in 1998, the managing committee of the mosque, Gyanvapi Mosque, the managing committee of the Gyanvapi Mosque filed an application before the court, okay, the same court, Varanasi District Court, okay, for the dismissal of the case, for the dismissal of the title dispute that has been filed by Kashi Vishwanath Trust. The application was dismissed, and managing committee, the application was dismissed despite the presence of the Places of Worship Act 1991. To challenge that, what happened now? The managing committee of the mosque went to Allahabad High Court. Okay. The case in 1998, it went to Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court kept the case with it, and no hearing took place until 2018, for 20 years. It was like put in the cold basket, and no hearing took place. In 2019, Ayodhya, the Ayodhya judgment was pronounced. The demolition of Babri Masjid was held a criminal act, and at the same time, the ownership of the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid site was given to a certain section of the petitioners who were representing Hindu side, and a separate side for Babri Masjid, a different masjid was given to the Muslim side, the petitioner representing the Muslim side. In the same year, a fresh petition was again filed in Varanasi District Court. Okay? Again in 2019, because now the judgment of Ayodhya came, and at that time, again this movement started. In 2019, a fresh petition was filed in the District Court of Varanasi, and they prayed that the court should direct the ASI, Archaeological Survey of India, to perform a videographic survey of this Gyanvapi Mosque to ascertain whether it was originally a temple or a mosque. Okay? So this is what happened till 2019. Okay. Now, in 2021, High Court of Allahabad, तो 2019 में जब ये केस आया, तो the court ordered, despite the fact that the same case was pending with the Allahabad High Court, the Varanasi District Court ordered the Archaeological Survey of India to form a commission, basically to form a 5-member committee, and to videograph the whole Gyanvapi Mosque site and ascertain whether there was a Hindu structure or a temple present there or not. But since the case was already pending with what? The case was already pending with Allahabad High Court, है ना? So the case was already pending with the Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court came down heavily upon the Varanasi District Court judgment. Okay? And it said that they should not have taken up the case, given the fact that the same case is pending in where Allahabad High Court. Okay. So, and the order of the court was what? Dismissed. Again, in 2022, this year, 5 women from Vishwa Vedic Sanatan Sangh, okay, this organization, filed a petition in Varanasi court for daily access to the Sringar Gauri temple and Nandi bull and the other images of deities on the mosque. Now you can have a look. Okay? Now you can have a look. This image of the same mosque / temple was taken by James Prinsep, okay, in 1834. It was made by James Prinsep in 1834. So you can clearly see there is a wall at the back of the mosque. That is the mosque. The minars represent the mosque, right? And now the 5 women who have filed a case in Varanasi High Court, Varanasi District Court again, they have pleaded the court that they should be allowed to worship in this compound, okay? In this compound and the Nandi bull itself. Okay, when this temple was demolished, in the front of it, a Nandi bull was also present. Nandi bull represents, Nandi bull, whenever you go to a Shiv temple, you will see a bull, image or sculpture of a bull, which is looking at, which is facing towards the temple, right? So that temple, that Nandi bull is also present. Okay. So let's look at a bit of history about this temple / mosque, right? It was, as one section of the society claims, basically Hindus claim that it was made by Vikramaditya Chandragupta II. Vikramaditya, he is also called as Vikramaditya, okay, is created to have created a Vishweshwara temple. Okay? He is claimed to have created or constructed what? Vishweshwara temple. Okay. He constructed what? Vishweshwara temple. In 635, in his works, the famous Chinese traveler Wen Sang also described. Now, one important point to note here is Wen Sang came during whose reign? During whose kingship does Wen Sang visit India? So it is often very confusing because there were so many Chinese travelers, and it's often confusing to remember. So one important point that you can remember is H for Wen Sang, H for Harsha. So Wen Sang came during the time of Harsha. Okay? In 635. He also talks about this Vishweshwara temple. Okay? In 1194 to 97, between this period, the temple is largely destroyed by Muhammad Ghori's order. On the orders of Muhammad Ghori, the temple is largely destroyed. Okay? And a series of demolitions and constructions take place. Fine. In 1669, the things get murkier from here. In 1669, on the orders of Aurangzeb, the Mughal emperor, okay, this temple is finally completely destroyed. Okay, but the plinth of the temple is not destroyed. It is used as the base of the mosque that is created. Okay, plinth means the foundation basically, and of course this wall, as you can see, here also you can see this wall is also not destroyed because this wall faces towards where? Mecca. Okay? So it can be used as the back wall of the mosque that is being created, right? So this wall is left as it is not completely destroyed and is instead used as a wall of the mosque. ठीक है. तो this happens on the orders of Aurangzeb in 1669. तो 1669 में and this Gyanvapi Mosque is created. Now this mosque is named Gyanvapi because of the presence of that well, okay, where a structure has been found which is also being called a shivling, and the other section of the society is calling it what, a fountain. ठीक है. So that well was actually, that well is called, that has already been called as Gyanvapi, the knowledge of the well, and that is how the name of the mosque comes as Gyanvapi, right? So in 1669 what happens, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb orders the demolition of the whole mosque, and this is what happens. फिर in 1776-78 Rani Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore, ठीक है, Holkars were all, these are Maratha clans, okay, तो Holkars, तो Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore restored the temple just beside the Gyanvapi Mosque. Just inside of this Gyanvapi Mosque, not inside, sorry, just besides this mosque, now the temple that stands, that we call Kashi Vishwanath, that was made by Rani Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore. Okay, and then in 1936, British government was sued in district court for the right to offer namaz throughout the Gyanvapi complex. What happened was कि this actually complex is a larger complex, ठीक है. तो what happened कि Rani Ahilyabai Holkar of Indore, she constructed what, a temple which we call Kashi Vishwanath temple right now. So that temple is very much close to this Gyanvapi Mosque. So there was some problem going on between the communities, and then a petition was filed in Varanasi district court against British to allow Muslims to offer namaz in the whole Gyanvapi complex, ठीक है. So but the right to offer namaz at the Gyanvapi Mosque was granted in 1937, but only that portion which is the part of the mosque, the namaz can be offered there only, not the whole Gyanvapi complex. So this was a brief history of this whole temple, and what comes out from the court judgments and analysis, what happens, we are all eager to look forward to. We are looking forward to it, how things unfold, right? So very important point is कि what is this Places of Worship Act? Places of Worship Act 1991. It has 3-4 important sections that we need to remember. One is section 3. Section 3 bars any kind of conversion of one temple site into another temple site in the form of religious change, ठीक है. Not only religious but also religious denomination, ठीक है. Like Hindu religion has a lot of religious denominations, ठीक है. तो one denomination like Lingayata or like Shaivism, Bhaktism, Vaishnavas and all, ठीक है. So they cannot, one temple or one worship site cannot be converted into another, ठीक है. So this is what section 3 talks about. Basically it says that कि once a temple or a worship site has been established and it is being used, whether it is being used or not, if it has a nature of specified religion or religious denomination, then it cannot be changed. Okay. Section 4.1 declares that the religious character of a place of worship shall continue to be same as it existed on August 15, 1947. ठीक है. It shall not be changed, but it shall be as it was at the time of independence. ठीक है. At the time of independence, जो status उस temple और mosque या church या गुरुद्वारा जो भी religious site है, उस साइट का जो स्टेटस 1947 15 अगस्त 1947 के टाइम था, वही स्टेटस वो रहेगा डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट कि इट हैज बीन मेड ओवर एनी अदर रिलीजियस साइट प्रायर टू दैट. ठीक है. सेक्शन 4.2 सेज दैट एनी लीगल केस पेंडिंग बिफोर एनी कोर्ट विल अबेट, मींस इट विल एंड, एंड नो फर्दर लिटिगेशन कैन बी फाइल्ड. ठीक है. But still courts are entertaining such litigations on different grounds. ठीक है. Like grounds of like someone is challenging it on the grounds of right to fundamental, the right to worship, ठीक है, right to religious freedom, ठीक है, article 25, 26 and all these articles. So that is the fundamental right granted in the constitution, so courts are obliged to take them up, ठीक है. So it can be said that these petitions are now colored petitions, right, not that being directly filed, sometimes as a title deed, ठीक है. Title deed means land dispute, that becomes a land dispute. Section 5 provides an exception for, because at that point in time the Babri Masjid was demolished and this Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid was already pending in the court, and a exception was included कि provide this whole act will not be applied on any litigation that is filed in the case of Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid case, whose judgment came in 2019. Okay, so I hope you understood this whole Places of Worship Act and the Gyanvapi Mosque and the whole case, what the controversy is. Okay, so we are all looking forward to how it unfolds, and it has important lessons on secularism as well, right? What kind of secular country we want to live in. So that I leave on to your discretion to think about it.